Spook!
Yes!
Guess what?
What?
We are the #1 Collingwood Football Club show on YouTube.
No way.
Totally
No
way. Total way.
Who's number 2?
Number 2. Well, let me read it out.
Yes, I want to hear this list.
Number 1. The Collingwood Rant.
That's it?
Yeah. Number 1. The Collingwood Rant.
Well, we can only go south from here.
Oh, we can't go south. Welcome to the Collingwood Rant. I am Sly.
And I am just a little bit inebriated spook.
Just a little bit inebriated.
Just a little bit. I can actually pronounce inebriated, unlike you.
A little bit.
A little bit. I can pronounce it a little bit, but yeah, we won.
We are coming to you following the grouping win against the
Grouping win. Yep.
Against the Sydney Swans.
Certainly am.
So, what did you think about the win, Spook?
There's an old Steve Miller song about taking the money and run, and that's where I'm feeling right now.
Well, okay, so when in this game, Jordan DeGoey still out. Darcy Moore still out. Mason
Jamie
Cox
Elliott,
is 1 week.
Mason Cox was out too.
is 1 week.
Everyone was out.
Mason Cox is 1 week. Ankle injury has turned into still 2 freaks away.
Why don't you talk about the in? Who was the in? Who was the big in?
Jack Magnan.
What a gun.
And Daniel Wells.
A little bit more about him later.
Yeah. Okay. So, we probably went there with an expectation that Sydney aren't travelling too well. We should just crush them.
I think we were fairly confident last week on the rant.
I've never been confident. I got to tell you a secret. I embellish a little. Okay. So, we thought we should win this comfortably. First quarter, Sydney played all over us.
They did. It was like watching the St Kilda game all over again.
But with the opposition capitalising on their chances. But I mean, there's still a feeling that even though they ran all over us, we're only like 9-10 points down.
10 points down.
10 points down. Second quarter, we ran all over them, and unlike Collingwood, did not convert our chances.
We sprayed it everywhere like a sprinkler on hyperdrive.
It was like watching bukkake in a Japanese porn video. It was disgraceful.
I didn't want to go there.
Someone needs to go there because, seriously, Collingwood, you could be winning games comfortably, but apparently these 2 big goal posts...
They're a challenge.
They're a challenge. So
maybe
you're going
if they were
to the
further
side.
apart, like maybe fucking 2 states away, you'd be a chance to nail them. Especially when you're in front.
What's that song in Reservoir Dogs? Fools to the left of me... Here I am. Anyway,
stuck in the middle with you.
Yes.
Yeah, unlike the football.
Yeah. Third quarter,
I think you're being unfair to the second quarter. I think the second quarter was a moment of resurgence. We
dominated, but we couldn't convert. So who cares? I mean, in the end, it's like you can dominate the play, but if you're not actually putting the score on the board, who gives a shit? Because you kept them in it. You could have killed the game. You could have killed their
momentum.
Yeah. Their passion, their belief and all that sort of stuff, you didn't do it. So come the third quarter...
Actually, I wouldn't mind playing a really quick trivia question.
English is your first language, isn't it?
It is. My trivia game is name that Sydney Swans player. And your time starts now.
Hewitt.
No, I don't know.
No.
I don't know any.
I
wouldn't recognise half these
outside
guys.
Of Buddy, Give Me a Free Franklin... I don't know many of those Sydney players.
And Heaney, I used to think was a good
footballer. Don't point at me.
footballer.
That's a free kick. That's a free kick.
I'm
Buddy Franklin. Don't point at me. It's a free kick.
I used to think Heaney was a good footballer. Did he actually have a moment today? This is the rest of these people playing for Sydney. Who are they?
Okay, we're gonna get to it in a second. Third quarter. I think we still, were quite failed to convert. Kept Sydney in it, and in the end, they went into the last quarter for lead. A couple of times we looked like we might squash the game. We did
squash the game. We should have squashed the game. Yep.
And Sydney got to the point where you thought, oh, hang on, shit, they're in front by now 2 goals. They're turning into a game. understand that when Chris Mayne went for a shot that Rampy ran over the mark, but geez, that's a really lucky free to be paid. To keep us in the game, and now
I think though that it was almost like an equaliser because that decision prior to that was debacle. Was it debacle?
Oh, there was some shit. There's some truly poor decisions. That Magdon one in the middle where he got pinged for holding the ball when he beat two players and then just jumped to try and contest the ball and he got pinged for it. Who was the Sydney guy who went, and that was deliberate. Sorry, that wasn't deliberate. But when bloody Howe ran back with the ball, tried to get a hand on it, bounced off his hand, went to the point post.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
So I mean, there's. I don't want to talk
Seriously.
about that. I don't want to talk about that.
Yep.
I don't want to talk about a second on the ladder.
We're sore winners.
No. This I don't want to talk about the umpiring. It's second ladder. You should be good enough to actually squash teams who are like 16th or something. I don't know where Sydney are. I don't really care.
You've got to put it into perspective of the team that we took up there, though.
Yeah, but the thing is, you've now... Okay, so let's talk about this now. 3 weeks in a row, you've played Carlton, who are like 18th. You've played St Kilda, who are like, I don't know, 15th. I'd like to research this, but it's St Kilda, so who cares? And you've played Sydney, who are like 14th.
Yep.
All right, I don't know if the attitude has began to develop in the team that, like, you know what, we'll win. We'll put our foot on the accelerator at some point and we'll just win.
Which they ended up doing.
Again. But, but they just did it. And, like, I think they were really lucky to get a 50 with the main shot on goal where he missed.
Oh, it was
a 50.
Fairly evident. He only ran over the mark by about 12 days.
But it was a 50, but it was like one of these things like, if that's what you're relying on to win the game, then, you know what, you're going to be in trouble at some point.
If Maine had actually kicked the goal, it wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been a problem. Maine missed. And that was another thing. The inaccuracy, Maine missed. Brody Mychek, your favourite player in the rant forever. Missed how many shots?
All of them.
All of them. Yeah, his kicking was terrible. But I mean, in the end, what we kicked like 8-28 or something.
There was a lot of disappointing shots in front of goal. I mean, there was a lot of straight in front conversions. And apparently, though, if you snap around your body, you just kick them.
It comes down. Brown did it. Mychek did it.
Brown did it about 48 times.
It comes down to the point of, you know what? Look, I know we're playing average teams, but we should not have an attitude of, at some point, we'll just accelerate away from them. It's not always going to work. And I think today we're really lucky to get away from it. Carlton, we obliterated. St Kilda, we obliterated today. I don't actually think we deserve to obliterate Sydney.
It's a funny one, though, because you look back at the last 2 games we played them. We lost by their freakish kick last year. The year before, we won by a kick. It's always been close contests and close games. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fact that we're playing in someone's backyard, which is called the
Let's go to this. All right, so let's go to this. Okay. So
let's just stop and go to this.
Yeah, let's go to this. You look at the team we brought up. Okay, fine. So we had like the Goey Moore, Taylor Adams out, Langdon went out. So we had a bit of vulnerability. We had to bring Jack Magdon up.
Yeah, can we talk about the logic of this?
What?
Why would you bring him in?
I don't know who else.
When was the last time we played? The last time we played against Buddy Kick 6. He didn't really hold him back then. He lasted about 8 seconds on him today.
Yeah, but I guess who are you going to bring up?
I know, but look.
I think there's a more important question here to be asked.
Sack would have been the more logical choice, but Sack probably can't string 12 minutes together at the moment.
Tyson Goldsack, I have to admit I haven't watched any of the VFL. I've heard he's struggling there. I don't know if they're playing him out of position, but I mean, it's not uncommon for a guy coming back from a knee to have a really bad year immediately following that knee.
Except for the reasonably good games he had up until the grand final post that knee.
Were they reasonably good? I mean,
I think they were pretty good up until the grand final.
I'm half decent, but I know they're great. But he's... Oh, anyway, for whatever reason he's struggling. He's a 30-year-old flanker playing as a key positioner, so he's not the guy they brought up.
Oh, so now you're the world's biggest Jack Magdon fan.
I'm the biggest Tyson Goldsack fan. I hope he can make it. I've always thought he's been undervalued at the club. He could be used better. But if he's not playing well enough at the moment they're going for Jack Magdon, then there's obviously issues there. I think the big issue is the thing we have spoken about all year. Collingwood's much vaunted midfield.
Oh.
I mean, Grundy, magnificent.
Oh,
look, what do you get, about 128 tap-outs?
You're looking at Grundy going around tonight. I know we've been a little bit critical about of his tap work, but today just really solidified the fact that
Tonight.
there's every chance tonight, or this afternoon, or whatever it is when we watched it, he's fucking going to win the Brownlow this year. On these efforts, I can't see anyone getting that close to him. His work today was probably one of the best games I've seen him play all around. And his tap work was borderline sublime at times. Again, though, it's the people reading the ball coming down.
And this is where we get to.
That was fun.
Pendlebury had a quieter game. He's been quiet the last few weeks. Beams, anonymous, I thought tonight.
He was shocking.
Sidebottom, was he out there?
Did he play?
Apparently he's an elite player, which we kept getting told. He was not doing anything.
Maybe we can treasure those 4 possessions he got.
Adam Treloar got 128 possessions. Did you really think he impacted the game?
Not when he handballed most of them. It would have been 128 handballs and 2 kicks.
Tom Phillips.
Yeah, very
burned
quiet.
It.
Very quiet.
Not a great... Callum Brown sort of came into it a bit later.
I wouldn't mind reserving about 4 hours of praise for him.
But the thing is, you got these really high-profile midfielders who are not doing enough.
That's your point. All right.
And, okay, so I'm not don't want to pin Callum Brown, okay? So Callum Brown's on that end of the spectrum.
Callum Brown was fucking very good tonight.
Callum Brown, let's see, he worked his way into it. You're talking about, like, Treloar, Pendlebury, Beams, Sidebottom. They're your big 4. I don't know if I've left there.
Your season mids.
Yep. So Sidebottom did nothing. I don't know if you thought it was the grand final. He did nothing.
He was well and truly tagged by who?
Pendlebury.
Who was the guy who tagged him? Do we even know his name?
Hewitt? No,
Hewitt?
Clark. Right?
Clark. It could have been Hewitt.
Some guy on the Sydney side.
You think at this stage of his career you'd know how to shake a tag, wouldn't you? No.
Okay, we're going to get to that too.
Alright.
Pendlebury did a few things. He was like getting possession.
The goal was fucking awesome.
Yeah, well, I was like in the first quarter. That was like in the Little League game. Beans, I don't really think did that much. Treloar got a lot of the ball, but I don't think he really damaged him.
No. A lot of really fucking hospital handballs.
Yeah. And again, you saw a lot of that stagnant handball. Oh shit, just got poleaxed by 14 Sydney players who were just sitting there. The guys who were consistently good, you look at that, Levo Greenwood.
Jesus Christ, what a game. That mark, and it won't get mark of the year, even though it should be. Yeah. But that aside, his attack and his fanaticism in defence was incredible. And I've often lamented him as being, look, even unless you're tagging, you're not much use to us. I really get scared when I see you in defence, except for tonight, because he absolutely kept us in the game.
Yeah. So he was really good. Grundy was obviously really good.
Oh, incredible. Absolutely incredible.
All right, so you look at, there's too many players not doing anything. Mychek couldn't work his way into it. Reid was, where's Waldo type game. Sorry, Ben Reid, not Sam Reid.
No, Sam Reid was phenomenal.
Sam Reid was phenomenal.
Ben Reid was
Hoskin Elliott.
A statue.
Hoskin Elliott was...
He didn't really... It was a cameo appearance, really.
Every now and then.
Actually having a cameo.
For Maynard and Chris were very similar. I thought Roughhead would... Sydney took him out of the game, which was really interesting. And this is what the point I want to get to. A lot of the game, we really looked like we were struggling to generate any sort of system or run.
No, there was no run. We were absolutely shut down at every possible opportunity.
And credit to John Longmire, but seriously, if you were the coach of Collingwood, at some point where you see Ben Reid's done nothing up forward, would you not flip him back with even Jack Magnan?
It's all about structures though these days.
If you saw Aliir getting his 158th possession down back loose, wouldn't you say someone lock him down? I mean, people criticise people like Rupert Wills. I'm thinking, well, he's a midfielder playing forward. Why is he the target of your criticism? He is a guy playing out of his position in his 10th game. He should not be the focus of what the issue there. Sidebottom did nothing.
Yeah, but the thing was, Wills really borderline redeemed himself towards the end of the game. Look, he really stamped his influence. And look, for someone that actually got smashed left, right and centre for the bulk of the game, to stand up when it actually mounted and where it counted and contributed towards the win, you can't get too critical. Or you can, but you can't.
I look at that game and think, okay, Grundy aside, no one played a 4-quarter game. Even Greenwood played.
Wells is on his way to play a 4-quarter game.
So Greenwood played chunks of it. Grundy played the bulk of it. Will shouldn't be the focus of, he's not the issue tonight. He's not the issue.
No,
his side bottom got 12 possessions. That's your issue. That's part of the issue.
It would have been easy to pot Wills in the first half, but I don't think he was the problem.
No.
He wasn't great, but he wasn't the problem. And the thing is, you've got to look at players like that and say, well, you played about, half a dozen games or whatever at senior level. You should be looking at the more senior bodies, the much vaunted midfield that again failed to win a clearance,
and this again
as being more of the issue than it is a young bloke.
And this again goes to the coaching too. Sorry, Bucks. We supported you for 112 years.
I can't believe we lost today.
Tonight
we lost.
The thing that really disappointed me was
the fact that we lost, because we're talking like we lost.
We should have lost. The thing that really disappointed me is, it's not working. Or we're looking, it's not working. Nothing's working. You're not generating run, flow, momentum, continuity, whatever, any shit like that. You know what? Side bottom has done nothing in the middle. Go throw him up forward. Put Wills, who shouldn't be in the forward line, in the middle. Whatever. Just swap something. Change it up. At some point, you got to just say, you know what? This is not working for us. Let's actually flip it a bit. Try and get something happening. It's not like you're sort of going, we're going to stop a guy who's getting 28 possessions in the middle into the forward line, and we're going to lose our one avenue out of the midfield. That's not happening. Side bottom, I've always said he's an elite forward. I really believe he's an elite forward. He is the sort of guy I really think Collingwood is missing at the moment, because the thing that really annoys me with Collingwood is they miss that crummer, that guy who roves the spillage. Josh Thomas, that was a really average game. They missed that guy who's going to crumb and capitalise on a half chance. Side bottom is that guy for me.
And yet there were moments where we did have goals on the back of opportunistic moments. I think the fact that we didn't have... Where I thought we lamented our inches in the forward line tonight was the fact there was no real big fucking dominant tall down there.
There's not. But
Aliir, I think he's an awesome player. He absolutely played loose a little bit and played accountable when he had to, but he dominated that back line, his back line, our forward line, and killed everything that came in more.
But again, I say just hypothetically, why wouldn't you man that up? Why wouldn't you say, look, Reed, you're not getting the ball. We're going to put you on your brother. We're going to throw Jack Magden forward. Jack, you're not a forward, but you know what? Just tag Aliir. Don't let him run loose at all. Sidey, you're not getting the ball in the middle. Let's throw you up forward. Wills, you go in the middle, use your big body, get the ball out to Pendles and Treloar, and let them use their abilities, their skill sets.
Can I throw another scenario into this mix?
Oh, yep.
Magden, you aren't going to play next week. Why don't you go out and smack everyone left, right and centre?
Yeah, well, he'd probably miss. But I'm just sort of looking at it from a point of view of, you know what you have isn't working, and I would like the coaching staff to actually sort of look at it and go, and I know but they believe, at some point it may work because it's worked in the past, but also you have to have the foresight there to say, you know what, it's not going to work. It's not working tonight. It's not going to work. I can't see this clicking. Let's change it up a little bit. You're getting players like Wills playing makeshift positions up forward. You know what, just change it. Put him in the middle. That's what he's meant to be. Put side bottom up forward. He can do that. Magden, I'm really sorry, but he's really just break glass in case of emergency.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, but it's like, he's not doing it up for. And it's also like, Sydney kept dragging Roughhead away from the goal. Surely, as coach, you just say, you know what, Ruffy, you just take the guy going toward goal. I don't give a shit who it is. If it's Buddy, if it's Reed, you just go down. You just run down there, and then Howe or whoever it is, Magden, you go take the guy playing more upfield. I don't give a shit if Buddy takes a mark on wing. I don't give a shit if he takes a mark, 10 marks on Magden up down the wing. That's fine. Let's just cover our defensive 50. They didn't do that.
Can we talk about Buddy for a second?
Yeah. What?
Is there a bigger whinging, whining entitled person playing the game.
I've not seen anyone win that much.
He is exemplifying everything about why you shouldn't play over the age of 34 anymore.
No, Buddy reminds me a lot of Matthew Lloyd toward the end of his career. Like, Lloyd, I thought at the start of his career was a brilliant full forward. Really just played the ball, marked it, turned around, kicked goals. And then you got in this habit of, I got to appeal for frees. And Buddy is now there too. He turns around and, like, every time it's like, it's like that, who was the push he did against? Was it Roughhead? Yeah, he did that massive shove on Roughhead.
Which wasn't a free. The elbow in the back.
No, paid that one. And then...
No, it should have been the 50 after that. That's the one.
When he kicked it into the point post, and then they turned around, and, like, Buddy was going, hang on, wait, why are you paying that against me? And it's like, seriously, you don't know that's the rule, that you just shoved him out.
Like, and every time that his opponent actually bested him, he just turned around and whinged about the fact
and that was like Matthew Lloyd.
There's nothing here to actually say that I should have got a free for it. I'm just going to bleat.
And the thing I respect with Matthew Lloyd, like he actually says, he goes, I look back at the end of my career and I think, I played for frees or I shouldn't have. Buddy Flunklin is just doing that now.
Buddy Funklin.
Buddy Funklin. Flunklin. You're just doing that. And you know what? Just fucking, I'm sick of this sort of, this double standard of, hey, I'm a premier forward. I should get every opportunity to kick goal.
Premier forward once. Or twice, maybe.
Twice.
And he fucked up a few others after that.
One.
But anyway, look, we won the game tonight, so we're talking a lot of downers. What would your positives be? What were you happy with tonight?
We won.
Yeah, we won. That's it. Let's move on.
Ultimately, hey, we won.
I mean, the thing is, what I'm getting at too is that we've played the last 3 weeks and we've won, granted, but we've been tested by bottom sides.
Well, that's a concern.
Is this a concern? It is a
concern.
But we did convincingly win in one and a bit. Tonight was the classic. I mean, I think they beat us by a kick previous year. We won by a kick the previous year. It's always been a close. It's a concern, but it's on that fucking shithole that we play on. It's a concern,
but it's positives. Last 3 weeks we've won when we didn't look like we had any right to win.
But it's not going to be sustainable.
On the flip side, you shouldn't be in these positions 3 weeks in a row against average teams. You got Fremantle next week. You can't keep playing like
this. Which is another average team.
Yeah, and we'll get to that later. But you can't keep playing like, hey, hang on, we'll just play 10 minutes and blow them away. You know what? Just crush the fucking spirit of these teams.
Crush, kill, destroy.
Yeah. Lost in space. Just crush, kill, destroy. Keep them at bay, and then just take it easy for the next 3 quarters. Don't fucking play these games where it's close, you keep a minute, and then you have to expend yourself to an extent that you shouldn't have to be expending yourself against an average team. And I understand that, like, everyone comes up against us and goes, oh, fuck, it's Collingwood, it's so grand final. But, fuck, just crush these things. If you had a quarter against... Sorry, even that second quarter against Sydney where you kicked inaccurately, and fix this. Fix this. The fucking inaccurate kicking. If you just kick 6-1 against fucking 128 or what they kicked, the game would have been over. You didn't do it. Final thoughts about this game?
As I said, Steve Miliband, take the money and run. We won. There was a fair bit of consensus.
Cheating by one umpire? No.
When we were watching the game that we didn't think we would. The fact that we still find a way to win with that side that we fielded tonight. We're still missing that crucial spine, which will come back. I don't know. Do we be admirable of the fact that they won under trying circumstances?
I mean, people can.
Part of me actually feels like I should be a little bit more rewarding of the win.
No, don't be.
It was arduous to watch and heart-thumpingly.
We had a crowd of people watching with, and they were bagging people like Wills up forward and Nathan down back. And for me, it's like the midfield is not applying pressure and not delivering. They're bombing the ball forward, and they're not applying pressure, so the ball goes defensive. Opposition just too easily targeting, their forwards. Just if that midfield needs to lift their pressure, and that'll start taking care of the way the ball's been delivered in terms of the opposition's forward thrust. And when we're going forward, just fucking lower the eyes and actually make good choices.
There's one thing, looking at it tonight, it's that really high bombing entry that we have in the inside.
It's like they really go for height.
At one stage, the stats, the inside 50s were almost double, I think, what Sydney had done, and we're still thereabouts in the scoreboard. It's like you kick that way when someone of a gargantuan stature like Cox is there, but we had no real big marking forward target there tonight. So if that's the case, why do you resort to this bombing game? Surely, and look, it was a very congested game. It was very hard for us to find space, but surely you'd be looking for an option that you can kick low and direct to them. And would have been the more practical way of getting the ball inside.
Let me add a proviso. If you're like 40, 50 out, like Brody Myercheek was, have a shot. Don't.
Yeah, there was too many trying to pass
Chips,
it off.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, the arcs at the SCG aren't 50 metres. They're probably about 28 metres.
Yeah.
It's still that mindset, I think, when players get outside of that drawn circle or arc, that they think it's going to be a struggle to actually kick outside of here. It should be a fait accompli.
I think
everybody should make the distance.
Had the short pass from 50 where he actually picked up the Sydney guy, 4 metres away.
Well, could you narrow it down? Because everyone picked out a Sydney guy tonight.
Any last thoughts?
We won.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Collingwood Rant. We are here with Beanie and Fiddick, who, we've been hearing a lot of clamour. Like, I think one person asked, where is Beanie and Fiddick?
Who asked that?
One person.
Oh, that's good.
I think it was Ron Brassey.
Ron Brassey. Happy.
Yeah. Damien Barrett.
The old stalwart.
The old knob. He's fitting with Luke Beveridge about, he's claiming that Bulldogs lied to him about Tom Boyd's mental health. How knobby is he, Damien Barrett, becoming?
Seriously, he's a unique individual. An amazing human being.
You know what it's like? Damien Barrett's season this year is very much like Jordan the Goey's last year, where you thought there's a lot of potential there, and he just fucking blew up.
I think like, how amazing! Very, very, very unfair on the Goey. There's enormous potential there. On Barrett, it's just shit.
Yeah, but he's realising it. So, Barrett this year has knobbed up to legendary proportions.
He's an epic knob.
And the thing is, the thing you got to admire, he's not backing down. He's just sort of going, no, I'll go for it.
Well, I think Tom Petty once sung about I won't back down. And that's obviously Barrett's swan song.
And he died then. Taylor Adams has resigned for 5 years. Tom Phillips has resigned for 3 years. Both contracts are believed to be heavily back-ended.
I think the number one priority in our list management is actually saying to Brody Gundy, whatever it is you want, we have to make that happen.
Give Peace a chance?
The rest of them are incidental.
Not all of them, surely.
All of them.
Even Jordan the Goey?
Oh, yeah. Well, he can't do anything unless Grundy's winning the ball.
I think Jordan the Goey can. Terrorist
Molinos.
Terrorist Wallace. Terry Wallace says...
Terrorist Wallace. What did Terrorist Wallace say today?
He didn't say today, he said it like last week. He said Dane Beams has provided an average return to Collingwood. Quote, he hasn't let anyone down, but it hasn't worked out to be a bonus, Wallace says. So he thought Beams would be a bonus to Collingwood, like most people thought. But it hasn't really happened. How do you feel about that?
I love Dane Beams.
But do you feel about this year?
I think Plower's on the money, though. He's been a solid contributor without being a great, outstanding match winner. But I think in fairness...
hang on. In fairness, Terry Wallace is like about 50 years of age.
Yes, so am I.
Oh, you're talking about Beams being a slight contributor. Sorry, okay.
The thing is, I was going to qualify it with is that Beams is no longer... I think Beams actually was incredibly outstanding inside of Brisbane because he was the elder statesman who was leading the way. He's come back now to a side where he doesn't have to play that same role. And I think he's still a little bit, to cut him to slack, struggling to find what that role is. There's a number of stats that have come out this week to say that in enforcement of his abilities, he's actually doing quite well as a defensive midfielder. But I still think that I look at each game and I'm looking for him to have that really breakout moment. And at the moment, he's just not treading water, but he's treading water with an intent to win a gold medal, but he's not doing anything above and beyond. He's fulfilling a role probably well and truly set for him. And I'm not berating him by any stretch of the imagination. He just hasn't exploded like I thought maybe he would.
explode.
Because he would have been very much a match winner at Brisbane.
If they won games.
But I think he was still the standout player for him. Now it's a different dynamic.
What a surprising name, according to Champion Data.
Chump
Data. It's revealed the top 5 most damaging midfielders in the competition after the opening 9 rounds of the season. It's not including tonight. Based on the players' chain involvements to score ratio, I don't know what that means. Brisbane captain Dane Zorko is rated the competition's most damaging on-baller.
Oh, good on him.
And Beams is number 3.
Is he?
Yep.
What does it actually mean?
I don't know.
If we can't qualify these stats, how important do we rate them?
Well, let's move away from fucking this because, Champion Data's involved. You watch On the Front Bar with Sam Pang and 2 hacks.
I do, and I enjoy it. Yep. What's your point?
Why would you admit that?
It's a good show. Unlike this thing, it's terrible.
This is a great show. If we could get Sam Pang onto this, we'll be fucking... We get you. Oh, I have... San Solaro, former D-Generation member, talked about seeing 8 losing grand finals now. He's a Collingwood supporter. He's only seen 1 win, which was 2010. He was on his honeymoon on 1990. And I just thought that was interesting culturally because that's what we're talking about. We actually watched the game with a couple of younger next-gen supporters who've only seen 4 losing grand finals.
Can you remember 4 losing grand finals? We are going back to the early 80s for this one, but not for these people.
What did you feel about, Santo, who you watched?
The thing is that struck me the most, and I love Santo, he's a ripper bloke in terms of his comedic abilities, unlike the people on this show. But straight off the bat, the minute that the grand final come up from last year, he went straight into that. I've seen 8 losing grand finals. I've seen 1 win, and I've seen 2. But I've seen 2 draws. If that's, again, I'll come back to that whole thing about if draws are rarities, what does that make our wins? But it bleeds for all of us. All of us actually feel that fucking pain of it in our lifetime. We've seen, and we're not super old, and to the people that are older than us watching this, you can come back and say, I've seen a fuck of a lot more losses for you. It is the mantra of the Collingwood supporter this day. Is actually we are more embracive of the defeat than we are of the positives of the victories because we don't have enough stories to reinforce the wins. The wins are wonderful, but there is more angst and pain to talk about the losses. Because we've experienced it more often than not. And we're probably going to die one day.
We will die one day.
And I don't think that ledger is ever going to be balanced. And that's a fact of our fucking existence as Collingwood supporters. Is that maybe we've got 1 or 2 more flags, hopefully in us. Hopefully a lot more.
Well, a couple of the people who came over were like 20-year-old and just saying they'd to see, he won more and 18 more grand final losses. I'm going to throw this in anyway. St Kilda
It's not a mephitic thing, it's just actually a fucking vent.
Yeah, it was a bit of a vent. St Kilda great Lee Montagna said...
You actually can't open a sentence with St Kilda great Lee Montagna.
Yeah. Said Daniel Wells had to take his...
Who played for St Kilda once, Lee Montagna, said what?
He said Daniel Wells had to take his chance while it's there because there's such pressure for Sparks. Wells did take his chance to kick 3 goals. He was really good in that fucking second quarter.
I mean, before we go into the tragedy of what happened tonight, what a fucking insightful article from Lee Montagna. Seriously. Who would have thought a bloke that struggled to actually get a game in the last couple of years would actually have to fucking perform to hold his spot? Does he get paid for this or does he pay people?
But sure, hang on, wait. It's not just pertinent to Daniel Wells. I mean, if you're selected, you're meant to contribute. If you don't contribute, you're dropped.
Not in Montagna's world.
Well, what's he doing? Coaching Carlton?
I think he's just you put on the fairy wings and you flap around a little bit and you make grandiose statements.
Well, geez, no one in the media would do that, would they?
No, surely not.
AFL injury lists indicate we have 176 players currently injured.
176 players injured on our list. That's fucking incredible.
There's 700.
Is that including players that we take in the next 10 years, or is that just past?
770 players currently around, and 22.8%. So slightly more than 1 in 5 players are injured. Not sure how that compares. Yeah. These, Melbourne have 17 injuries. Saints have 15. We have 14. Well, now 15 now with bloody Wellesley injured. That's a credit to Darren Parkin on Twitter. That still seems a lot of injuries. I know we've carried a few over with Dunn and Schoenberg. I mean, Dunn redid his thing, but it's still a few injuries, and
the solace that I draw out of this is that look, aside from Wells today, I think Wells probably had the
well, he did fall over, so
the look of a bloke that just knew that he was cactus, and that's it. I'll finish my career. Actually, to be honest, I think it's not the way that you'd want to go out, but it's not a bad way to go out. Would he end up kicking 3?
Or getting your nuts caught in a Laplander, that's the way to go. Having your parachute not open. I got to give Wells credit. Wells, they put him in the reserves. They played him for 4 or 5 weeks. He did well, and they said, "Why not? You're okay. You're doing everything right." They brought him up, played a really good second quarter, kicked 3 goals. But the way he got injured was like, well, hang on, they've been tackled and they've hit the ground.
It's innocuous. A lot of knees go like that way. Look, I can't fault him. I think he was superb up till that moment.
He was,
and I think if that is it.
Oh, it is it.
It's not a bad farewell.
I think the fallacy with someone like Daniel Wells is like, there's a lot of people going, oh, we can get him right, He's 34. Who's getting fitter at 34?
And we may have mentioned this on the rant a few times about the risk of bringing those older players into the AFL environment that are more prone to be injured than not, and what happens if it goes bad.
Travis Varco won to challenge his 1-week suspension for knocking out 2 Phillips with 1 blow. Club didn't believe they had any grounds to stand on. I recall they did that about 5-6 years ago. No, actually it's longer than that.
I think they were right down that stance though. Yeah. He wouldn't have got on off.
Under the AFL things, he
probably would have ended up with another 6 years added to his sentence.
I remember like about 19 years ago, they actually did it with Nick Maxwell, where he smashed Steve Johnson off the ball behind play, and when they contemplated taking it for a challenge, they said, well, can we tick off any of these boxes? No, we can't. So, under the AFL rules, he's gone. Yeah. So, Varks, it would have been great for him to play in the Indigenous round. We had a couple of comments on our YouTube channel. Thanks for the upload, guys. Really appreciate your efforts weekly. I am Nick's Bulletin Board. And post mostly read for lack of good content elsewhere. I'm over in WA, which sucks too.
Is this Driver?
No. Local radio stations are sycophantic at best and full of conspiracy theories against them masterminded by the Vice, so I don't listen.
Is this Ed from WA?
No. So I listen to it. I'm getting used to you guys' style and love your passion and common sense views.
Up until today's episode.
Peace and may the gods bless us with some luck this year. And that's from Magpie Whisperer 35.
He's clearly insane with that last statement.
Well, it's like, I think after you said the last statement, that's when we got the injuries. I think that guy said, oh shit, I'm not taking that. Daniel Wells, knee! From Pugsville. Actually think Will should get another game after you wanted him out. Like Visaya with 2 contested beasts. Adam Visay's preferred option. Will's Greenwood the other. Rather give Wills the chance. And come finals, you have to now realise realistic option. That's my bad. Sorry, realistic option if needed. And come next year, do we keep next year? Greenwood is a more known quantity. I'd keep Wills over Callum Brown this week, which we did because this was thought last week. And Wills is suited to the Swans type of game on the SCG, but we ended up playing him forward instead of the middle.
Yeah, it was a strange move. Look, and I think we made the comment during the first least quarter,
first 4 quarters,
is that Wills wasn't great, but Wills wasn't the major problem out there tonight. And I think he redeemed himself solidly in that last quarter when the game there was there to be won. He stepped up.
Well, I
think for a player who's played how many games?
6.
6 games?
I don't know.
16 games. Whatever it is he's played, it's a low amount. But it wasn't a bad.
But I think Will's he did a few things, but he actually did a few good things. Last quarter, when Grundy went off the blood rule, Will's went to ruck, and he actually contested. and he actually won the ball.
A lot more than Reid did in the ruck.
You know, he contested. He kept it trapped, and he kept chasing. As I said before, I'm a big Wills fan. I mean, a couple of years ago when I saw him, I thought he had something going on. I don't know, you know, whether injuries have curtailed his potential and all that sort of stuff. But you know what? He's a midfielder. You're playing him up forward. You know what? You're probably not going to get the best out of him. Finally, if you're playing up forward. Finally, speaking this is directed at you. Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Okay. It came to an end this week.
Did it?
Yes, it did. From all the social media that I've seen, terrible finale. Absolutely appalling finale.
I haven't seen a fucking single episode of episode 8, so why are you bringing this up? Series 8, sorry.
Because you've watched this show for about 28 years.
Yeah, and this relates to Collingwood how?
Captivating television for, 6-7 years?
Well, that's unlike Collingwood.
And then they just fucked it up in the last...
Apparently.
2%.
I haven't seen it, but allegedly I'm hearing that.
So, okay. So, let me ask you.
Yes?
Great for 7 seasons and they just totally ruined it.
Yep.
Is Collingwood somehow involved?
If there was a long bow in the show, you've just pulled it.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
We'll be back with the match preview against the Dockers.
And if you made it through that Game of Thrones segment, kudos to you.
Collingwood Fremantle at the G. Match review. We have no idea.
Take 10.
We have no idea about injuries or anything like that.
I'm pretty certain Daniel Wells won't be playing.
Wells won't be playing. The Goey could be back. Moore could possibly be back.
It is more of a story about who's going to come back in.
Mason Cox has gone from a 1-week injury to still being 2-3 weeks away, 4 weeks after that initial report.
You are a Collingwood supporter. Why are you surprised?
I'm actually disappointed.
We always underestimate the return to being able to play.
So, possibly the Goey.
I think the Goey definitely. Adams, I believe, was thereabouts, but probably not. Would you bring him back into the VFL? Maybe a game or two, though?
Adams?
Yeah.
No.
What about Sy? We want to get Sy back in.
So Sy will depend on how well he plays in the VFL.
We have one confirmed out this week. Varks is available.
I say Varco's back also from 1 week suspension.
So we've got a lot of bodies that we want to bring back into this side, but who do we get rid of?
Alright, so although we're supported in the whole rant segment, Will's probably go.
See you later!
See ya.
Thanks for coming. So long. Thanks for all the fish.
Callum Brown did well. So
Callum Brown was a phenomenal player today. He's not going anywhere. Magden,
if Darcy Moore's back,
oh geez, would you take more than a nanosecond to think about that one?
Let me ask you something, because someone put it to us tonight. Would you drop Jeremy Howe?
He's close.
Do you feel he hasn't been influential in the season
at all this year? He's really struggled.
So why do you think he struggled?
I'm actually not sure. I don't know. Because he overcome a little bit of adversity with that cork leg that lasted 17 years.
It's more than a little bit of adversity.
He came back, and look, he wasn't that great in the grand final.
No.
And that form has carried into now. You've got to start objectively looking at this and say, is he part of what it is that we want to do moving forward? It's a little bit premature to make that statement, but there has to be that little niggling voice in the back of your head that says, has he run his race? Because he's not doing anywhere near what he did exceptionally well. He took one great little contested mark, but I think no matter what, even if he was on long leg, he'd still managed to do that. But his defensive pressure and his defensive ability has diminished. Are we carrying a liability, or are we just carrying someone that's going to redeem and recover their form?
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Howe's struggled. So, I mean, the only query is, who do you bring in if you dump him?
That's the $1 million question, which is obviously nobody.
I mean, apparently Goldsack's struggling in the VFL. Howe's a lot better intercept mark. Goldsack's probably a lot better impact play. You'll dive in the packs and risk life and limb to win the ball. The query I think with Howe is because you've put more in there and Roughhead in there, you've sort of changed his role, and I don't know if he's really actually learned how to deal with that.
No, it could be a period of readjustment. Excuse me while I just deal with the technical aspects of this show. I think.
I'm not. I
don't know what it is that actually is retarded where he actually is, but at the moment he's got to be on the cusp. But as you said, who comes in?
Well, I don't think there's anyone defensively. I mean, I think our much vaunted depth is.
Oh, it's pretty much our depth is as good as the 22 that we get in the park.
Well, I mean, people talk about depth.
Outside of that, we struggle.
People talk about the depth, and Jack Magnan played. Okay, so I think the midfield is pretty well covered at the moment. If you got injuries, further injuries, then you'd be struggling. But then if you get further injuries, then you're looking at the side. Any side would struggle with that amount of injuries. I think what we've got to really seriously look at with Howe is, maybe that role isn't working for him anymore. Maybe, you originally recruited him as a forward. Maybe that's what you need to do.
We talked about it during the game tonight, that there was a couple of opportune moments where maybe if you're doing nothing up back, switch and throw him up forward.
Well, that's what they should do.
Because
that goes in the match thing.
It's like reading nothing marking target. He could have actually probably nailed a couple of those.
Seriously, if I was coach, not that I'm asking for a job. I'm asking for a job. When Sam Reid was killing us and Ben Reid was doing nothing for it, I would have swapped Ben onto Sam and brought Howe forward.
Yeah.
And maybe it's one of these things that's going.
Not convinced on that one, but I can appreciate the sentiment.
But the thing is, I look at it and go, well, hang on, wait. Sam Reid's killing us. So if we take someone out of there, is it affecting any productivity that we're actually getting out of it?
Certainly not in that. You could have taken anyone at that forward line.
And we're taking Ben Reid out of our forward line. Is that affecting something he's contributing? No. So you're taking two negatives at that stage and swapping them and believing, hang on, at the very worst, you're going to produce as little as that guy was producing and just swap it around. Just maybe, just actually changing around will get the opposition wondering, what are you doing? Maybe you'll get something more happening. I think Ben Reid today was really swamped every time the ball went forward. He had 2 free players on. It was like watching Travis Cloak in his heyday under Buckley.
Well, he had Aaliyah climbed all over his back and maybe gave away 12 threes, but that's not a problem. He was well and truly bested by what could have bested him on the day.
Yeah, I just think he could have changed up a little bit. And I really, I don't complain about frees, but geez, Aaliyah, no problem pushing, shoving.
Yeah.
Any of that sort of stuff. There's no freeze there.
Good performance, though. He's a great player.
I think he's a really good player. He really reads the play well, takes the game on. That's the sort of guy you want. However, you can play... However, you can play some impunity when you're not going to get challenged or called for pushing someone in the back, whatever. What are your thoughts about Collingwood Fremantle?
I think the fact that we're playing them down here, they won't get to play there, choke the shit out of the game game plan. We will win and win comfortably.
I think Fremantle are struggling a little bit now. They started the season well, but obviously a younger team, so as the season goes on, a bit of wear and tear. You bring them over to the MCG also, so that adds another factor where they're not going to produce as well as they have. And even if they were, we should still beat them by 4 or 5 goals at the MCG. My only concern is, and I hope, the players aren't walking around believing they're the...
Well, not after this week.
I hope the players aren't walking around thinking how great they are. It is, 3 weeks in a row against very mediocre teams. And admittedly, Carlton really played well against us.
For everything.
However, having said that, I really believe against...
Excuse me. Cut that out. Stop. Start again. I do believe
with Carlton and St Kilda and average teams who are coming up, I know
like a flower.
Yeah, I know they can be spirited, but I really believe if you just smash them early, you can actually break them and then just take it a little bit easier because you have that ascendancy over. Whereas what we've done is for 3.5 quarters, we've kept every one of these teams in the game so they believe they're a chance, and then we've put our foot on the accelerator. It's like, you know what? I don't want to see a season like that. I don't want us to be playing premiership football in, what season are we in? May, June? We did that in 2011. I understand it's a work in progress. However, I want to see us developing good habits. I want to see us actually going, hey, you know what? We can kill this game early and just play tempo football and half-ass it for the rest of it. Not half-ass it for 3 quarters and then have to produce.
I still think we're struggling to solidify a side.
I agree too. And, I think a lot of that comes down to we've taken players. I think Roughhead was a good addition.
He's been exceptionally good.
I think the Beams addition is actually sort of off balance at midfield in terms of who's doing what. And they're still trying to work it out. And they do change. They seem to change it weekly, like who ends up on wings and who ends up on the midfield and all that sort of stuff. Whereas I would think, you know what? If I was coaching a team, I'd certainly sort of identify players as like, that guy goes in, that guy feeds it out, that guy is a finisher. And I think like too often we're getting sort of players going, well, you're going to have to do all of that. And that's not the way it should work. Like Treloar, he does get a lot of contested possessions. I don't know if he can still run because I haven't seen him sprint since that.
He can do a lot of dinky little handballs though.
Yeah, so I mean that's another question. Can Treloar still sprint? Does he have pace? Does he have breakaway acceleration?
Treloar of last year would be a hell of a lot more beneficial to our side than Treloar of this year.
He really reminds me in ways of Chris Judd after Judd lost his pace and he's now inside packs and trying to feed it out and all that sort of shit. But the point I'm trying to make is like, you want to maximise guys like Sidebottom and Pendlebury on the outside, feeding the ball out, trying to construct forward assaults. And too often those guys get caught in the middle trying to feed the ball out, and then it's just sort of chaos, handball. It's just, and let's boot it forward. So that's, if I structure a team, it'll be like, well, these are the guys that do that, and these are the guys that do that. And at the moment, I think it's like, well, no, hang on, I don't know who this is doing what. That's my issue.
I'm confident this week that it's going to be dependent on some of the ends, I think.
More tip?
Pies by 18 points.
I'll tip Collingwood by 24.
Oh, we're very close this week.
Yes. If you like what you hear, like us on YouTube. And if you don't like what you hear, like us on YouTube.
Or do whatever you do in the podcast community to share this shit to other people.
Oh, I was going to get that. Subscribe on YouTube, leave comments. We'll read them out when we do, remember. Please share us because we need love. And we also have a Facebook page, Collingwood Rant, on the Facebook.
It's one of the bigger things out there, apparently.
I believe it could be a thing.
It could be a thing.
Social media, I believe it could be a thing. And hopefully we'll be back with great news next week. But we will be back one way or another.
On the more sober rant.
No sobriety is required.
And you missed by a fucking country mile. I can't believe it.
I do go for Collingwood.
Why don't you line up next week in the 4 line?
I will. Later.
Thanks for watching, listening, whatever.